we've done this before, predicting huge shifts because of free agency, and people are like, okay, well, not that big a deal. This year, it has been a big deal. KD and Kyrie are in Brooklyn. Jimmy Butler is in Miami. And, of course, now you have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are both with the Clippers. And, oh, yeah, by the way, I may have forgotten to mention Anthony Davis is with the Lakers and LeBron James. 2019 has actually lived up to and, Cuttino, I would say exceeded anyone's expectations for free agency movement.
And it's not even finished.
Right.
You got to see about the Houston Rockets, kind of drama that's going on. But I would never have thought Jimmy Butler was going to Miami.
All right, so will Jimmy Butler be going alone? You know who may know? Our next guest. Antonio Daniels is a former studio analyst for the Oklahoma City Thunder, but now he's the color analyst for the New Orleans Pelicans. So now he can give us the goods on what was really happening in Oklahoma City. Antonio, how are you?
Doug, how you doing, brother? Cat Mobley,
hey,
my man. What's up, brother?
What's up, AD?
All right, first of all, let's dial back. Friday, where were you when the trade went down? Were you asleep? Were you in Vegas hanging out? Or were you asleep?
I was asleep. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. That was Kawhi going to the Clippers wasn't a surprise. I've been saying from day one, I've been in San Antonio, still live here. When Kawhi was drafted here, he's cut from a different cloth. So I didn't expect him. I didn't care what everybody was saying. This was just me. I didn't expect him to go to the Lakers. I didn't. He's cut from a different cloth. You look at it. He left $30 million on the table, leave San Antonio, go to Toronto. Left $50 million on the table, leave Toronto, and sign elsewhere. And he left Brand Jordan to go to New Balance. Who does that? Who does that? You can line up 100 guys on the street and say, look, I'm going to give you a Brand Jordan shoe or a New Balance shoe. All 100 would take Brand Jordan, but not Kawhi. Kawhi said, you know what? I'm going with New Balance. So he is cut from a different cloth. And what I like what Kawhi did is with his one decision, with that one decision to join the Clippers, he eliminated the villain team from the NBA. He eliminated the super team and now made parity back evident within the NBA.
I like that.
Okay, so there's a bunch of different stunning parts to it. Let's start with the Paul George thing is the most surprising. And Paul George, of course, had just re-upped last year with the Thunder and didn't even give the Lakers a meeting. Didn't give them a meeting.
Right.
So, you covered the Thunder for the last how many years did you cover the Thunder?
Four.
What he Instagrammed out all this love towards Russell Westbrook. Why would he leave Russ a year after committing to staying with the Thunder?
Because if this situation was on the table a year ago, he never would have signed back with the Oklahoma City Thunder. The fact of the matter is the Clippers could offer him something that Russell Westbrook, Sam Presti, and Clay Bennett and the Oklahoma City Thunder cannot compete with. They could offer him an opportunity to go home, one, and the opportunity to compete for a championship immediately. So this has nothing to do with Russell Westbrook. I know that you're going to hear it. You're going to hear, Kevin Durant was there and he left, and James Harden was there and he was traded away, and now Paul George. This has nothing to do with Russell Westbrook and Paul George's relationship. They have a great relationship. This is business. This is a business decision. This is the Clippers saying, you know what? You come here with Kawhi Leonard, Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell. We give you an opportunity to win a championship now. And honestly, they're the front runner. I think they're the NBA front runner to win the NBA championship, especially with Kevin Durant being out. You go back to Oklahoma City. I mean, look, you have Russell Westbrook. You have Steven Adams. You have Jeremy Grant. Yeah, you're going to be competitive. You're going to be relevant. People are going to watch you, but you are not at home, one, and you are not competing for a championship immediately, two. This is not about the relationship between Russell Westbrook and Paul George. This is about Paul George having an opportunity to win a championship now in L.A.
I understand that, and I love what you're saying. It's very confusing to me, AD, that Paul with those two, with Russell Westbrook and Paul George, him leaving after signing, such a deal that he did in OKC. If it's not about Russell, I'm confused. It's like, what, you don't think that he can win with OKC and Russell? Because Russell's an amazing player. I just
Right.
think, I just think his injuries the past few years kind of took a backseat to his workouts in the summer, which, kind of shows during the season. But I'm pretty sure Russell will come back, better than ever. But, I just don't know. Paul George had a, shoulder injury. You know what I mean? Like they weren't 100%. So I don't know. I just think Russell Westbrook and Paul George, you don't think they just had enough in OKC or something?
I don't know. I don't know if Paul George and Russell Westbrook feel like they had enough.
Right.
In Oklahoma City.
Okay.
If you look at certain deals that they have on the table, you look at the past two playoff series. They were eliminated first round last year by Utah, this year by Portland Trailblazers.
Right.
Both of those series, Steven Adams didn't play well. And he didn't play well the second half of the season as a whole. So then it comes down to, do we have enough realistically moving forward? Do we have enough moving forward? Do we have enough coming off our bench? Do we have enough shooting so people can stop sitting in Russ's lap and stop sitting in Paul George's lap and give these guys the freedom so they don't have so much responsibility? Right. So when you sit back in the offseason and say, man, let's look at this team. And realistically, do we have enough to compete for an NBA championship? When you line yourself up against some of the other teams in this league, I don't know if Paul George felt like they had enough. I'm not sure.
I mean, you're painting the picture, and then, they even drafted none. They didn't draft shooting. They hadn't been able to move. Right. They have a couple of contracts. Dennis Schroeder's not a great shooter. And they're trying to move that deal, and they hadn't gotten it done. So I understand the frustration. I do think, though, that you did kind of know what you signed. You had a year to know what you signed up for, and you signed up for it. All right, so then
Doug, he did it the right way, though, Doug. He did it the right way. That's the thing. He did this the right way. Like, if I'm Anthony Davis or if I'm any other free agent out there, that's the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to get all my money first.
Right.
That's why I said this is a business decision by him. Right. He didn't leave anything on the table. He said, let me get my money. Yep. Let me give this a shot. Let me see how it works. Let me take a view of the landscape. And if it doesn't work, and now a better opportunity presents itself, the same thing that organizations do to individuals every day, I can't fault them for that.
No, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
The counter to that is you're the small market organization, like even when you work for now. Like that's the fear in New Orleans, right? Which is, hey, we can draft all these guys, and both teams, Oklahoma City now and New Orleans, basically control the draft over the next millennium. You can draft these guys, but the second they decide I'm out, what do you do? I want to go, I want to go home, or I want to go to LA, or I want to go to New York. It becomes very difficult to have the balance of those smaller powers if things aren't perfect for those guys.
But how often are guys running to New York and LA now?
It just happened this last 2 weeks.
I just said the same thing.
Wait,
stop.
You guys are
No.
wait. Wait, hold on. Cuttino Mobley, Antonio Daniels. Are you guys both ostriches? Are you not watching? And
it just happened out of 50 years. That don't happen.
It just happened.
When I was drafted in 1997, I think one of the biggest things that guys talked about was market size. Yeah. Oh, L.A., oh, Miami, oh, New York, oh, Chicago. Man, since social media has become relevant, guys can grow their brand from anywhere.
I'm not disputing that. But wait, you just said Miami. Jimmy Butler went there. You just said New York. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant went there. You just said L.A. and Anthony Davis just went there, and Kawhi Leonard. And granted, I understand that both those guys grew up in Southern California, but you just contradicted yourself based upon what's happening in the league.
I'm going on ration. Has this happened before? Has this happened before?
Talk about the past 5 years.
How about New York? How about Brooklyn?
Hold on. Wait. It actually has happened before.
When?
As Brooklyn got I know Darren Williams didn't turn out to be the player
that they
were.
If you don't stop it.
Hold on. And it's happened. It's happened. But again, that's part of the seismic shift that's happened in the NBA.
No.
But no, you guys are you're not paying attention to what just happened, and you're denying that it happened. You're like, well, it hasn't happened before.
LeBron James did that.
What you're doing,
right?
You're bringing a prisoner of the moment. I'm not talking about this year. I think it's fantastic that it happened this year.
Yeah, that's it.
Like go back. Why Paul George didn't even take a meeting with the Lakers last year. You can go back years before that. There were guys that didn't even go. LaMarcus Aldridge, a ton of guys have turned down the Lakers and not gone. That's happened. No one has gone to the Knicks, and I don't know how long. No one has gone to Brooklyn.
But Carmelo Anthony went to the Knicks. What are you talking about? It hasn't happened before. Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire, Penny Hardaway, Jason
Amari
Kidd.
Stoudemire?
Yes.
Amari Stoudemire.
Yes. Hold on. I just gave you. Yes. When's it happened before? I just gave you a list of times.
So Clyde Frazier signed with the Knicks. Like, you don't go on names.
I'm not going to 1960. I just gave you.
But Amari Stoudemire was already injured.
Carmelo Anthony went to the Knicks.
When was that, Doug?
Yeah.
Doug, when was that?
I don't know.
2000
7 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
6-7 years ago. 6-7 years ago.
And who went with him?
Nobody went with him.
Oh, there you go.
Because he's Carmelo Anthony. I mean, wait. LeBron James went to Miami. Like, it doesn't happen. LeBron James went to Miami, and he got Chris Bosh, and he had Dwayne Wade already there. Like, you guys, okay, so I actually think I proved my point, and I'm not saying historically it's always happened, but...
No, you're a prisoner of the moment.
I'm not a prisoner of the moment. I'm telling you what Friday signified as a shift. One, that you can go to Brooklyn instead of the Knicks. You can go to the Clippers instead of, but the idea of player empowerment, which we all agree LeBron James has brought to star players in the NBA, it's allowing these guys to say like, hey, look, I want to be in a place I want to live. And that's what's going to happen. And it's the reason that New Orleans, it's the reason that Memphis, it's the reason that Oklahoma City are loading up on draft picks is because it's the only possible way they can compete. And we also know that you can't compete really with younger players in order to win big. Let me get to the other part to it, and this is the big thing. Antonio Daniels joining us. He's the color analyst for Pelicans games, which should be super exciting. But having left Oklahoma City and knowing Russell, both you guys know Russell as well as you know him, apparently he was, on some level, offered to the Toronto Raptors as part of what could have been a deal to save this thing in Toronto. And so when I read that, I said, ain't no way Russell's going back to Oklahoma City if they ever mention trading him. But you guys know him better. Is the genie out of the bottle? Is there any way he comes back and plays in Oklahoma City?
I think the only way that he comes back and plays in Oklahoma City, and this is going to sound like, oh, well, duh, obviously, is if they cannot move him. Because when it's when Paul George put out that message to the Oklahoma City Thunder fans, Russell Westbrook was the first one to comment on it and say, hey, man, I know what it is. Which basically meant Russell Westbrook knew what was going on. This did not take him by surprise like it did when Kevin Durant left. But what may have took Russell Westbrook by surprise was the fact that his name was mentioned in trade talks. Wait a minute. I'm the guy that stayed loyal to Oklahoma City. I'm the guy that you told that, you know what, we want to build this franchise around moving forward, and now my name's involved in trade talks? Yeah, okay. Well, if that's the case, get me to Miami. Get me to Detroit. Get me somewhere else. Because Russell has a lot of pride within him. He has a lot of pride within him. And it would be very difficult for me on this day in July to picture Russell Westbrook in a jersey opening, or in an Oklahoma City jersey, opening the season with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Hard to picture.
I like that. Russell in Miami with Jimmy Butler and those guys? Or Detroit with Blake and Drummond? What do you think, Dougie?
I mean, with Drummond, I think it'd be amazing. I think the question for Miami is, do they have the assets? What can they send back in return? Mm-hmm. Detroit has more assets they could send back in return. And then, the other one that intrigued me is the Knicks, frankly, because he is a big brand, and I do think he would light the bright lights in the big city. I don't think the Lakers would have anything to trade back, but there's a guy who would love to have him.
The only thing with the Knicks and a lot, just to say the Knicks, like, I don't think you have a fighting chance, and you're going into your 12th year and you injured a lot. Like, that's just a lot. I'd rather go to Detroit or Miami if I was him, even though he might not have a lot of assets in Miami. I'd rather go to those places because at least I have a chance.
Yes.
You don't have a chance.
Well, at least with Miami, what you get in return, you get an all-star lead guard and Goran Dragic. You get an all-star lead guard. Now, I'm not saying that's obviously, he's not Russell Westbrook.
Right.
But you have somebody that is a starting point guard in return. You bring Deion Waiters back, you bring a first-round draft pick back, and throw someone else in there. I do agree.
I think Deion Waiters back in Oklahoma City.
I know, but I'm just saying, sometimes you have to take on – if you really want to get rid of Russell Westbrook's deal and his contract and move on and start the rebuilding process, you won't have that big of an issue bringing back Deion Waiters in return.
Last thing. All right, let's take a breath and give me your thoughts. Who we've seen Philadelphia reform themselves. We've seen Boston, who may have less talent but better chemistry. You'd think. You see Brooklyn, but Brooklyn is a year away at least, or maybe 9 months away from seeing Kevin Durant on the floor. You got the Lakers. You got the Clippers. Utah, I think, did well. I don't know. Houston still very much. Do they stand pat? But as of today, Antonio, East and West. Give me your top 3 or 4 in order of who you like.
That's a toughie. With the West, I would have to go the Clippers because I think the Clippers are right now the front runners, not just because of the 2 stars they acquired, but also what they already had there with Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell and some of those other guys. Man, after that, I love the moves that the Utah Jazz made. I love the moves that the Utah Jazz made. Acquiring Mike Conley, Boban Bogdanovic, those guys to add shooting. So to put spacing around somebody like Rudy Gobert, who you allow the opportunity to kind of do what he does best. The Lakers, they're going to be really good. This is not the Los Angeles Lakers of last year because LeBron's not by himself. So now you bring over a motivated Anthony Davis and put shooting around him. You put Danny Green and some of those other guys around him and be on the lookout for Kyle Korver. It's a matter of time before Kyle Korver ends up in L.A. as well. Your 4th team, man, good luck. Good luck. And that's when we talk about parity.
Well, you don't like Houston? You don't like Houston at all?
I do like Houston. But the thing that kind of bothered me about Houston, I felt like they panicked and overreacted. Bisdelic is gone, and Roy Rogers is gone, and Earl Rowland is gone. Their coaching staff is gone. Yeah. They lost to the best team in the NBA 3 of the last 4 years. There's no shame in that. But what they decide, let's tear this thing apart. Like, no, what you do is you wait for your window. Your window, it just happened when Kevin Durant went down and left. Your window is when Klay Thompson goes down. But I felt like the Houston Rockets overreacted, so it'll be interesting to see their chemistry this upcoming year.
Right.
Antonio, great stuff. Unfortunately, we only got like a half of Zion one half of Zion in this summer league, but we're all excited to see you call. What did you think of Zion in the very limited time we got to see him in summer league?
Obviously, he's what we all expected. He's exciting. And, the thing is, and you guys can help me out with this. I get asked constantly, who can you compare him to? And if you go back in history, you've seen guys with that build, but you've never seen guys with that build and that athleticism and that agility. So you can look at a Charles Barkley, as great as a career he had, one of the best power forwards ever. He was not that explosive as Zion is. You can look at Larry Johnson. He was not that explosive, but both those guys were physically built. They were strong. They were agile, but Zion's a little bit different. Just like when LeBron came in the league, we had never seen anything like him before. And Zion now, being 19 years old, that strong, that athletic, with nothing but basketball time on his hands and the ability to improve, it's going to be interesting.
It is. How old are you, Antonio?
44.
Okay, so you're a little bit older than me, but we're like the same age. Didn't you used to watch the NBA Superstar video when you roll around a camera? Remember the NBA Superstar video?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, people remember Barkley more Phoenix and Houston.
No.
Barkley was a freak athlete. Barkley was a freak athlete. He was a freak. With the Sixers, he was a freak athlete. Now, I agree with you. He wasn't Zion. Okay, and Zion's only just turned 19.
But truthfully, Zion right now, he on his baby fat right now.
Yes,
he needs he needs a nutritional diet, nutritionist right now because I don't. That's not going to keep up the way he's keeping that body up right there. You can't play at 285. You can forget about it.
Yeah, but
you're and the way that the Pelicans play and Alvin Gentry's system of getting up and down the floor and pushing that basketball. Yeah, believe me, come October. Come the second week of October, the first week of October, Zion will be in that shape that you're referring to, Kat.
Yeah, you're going to have to.
We'll see.
It's good to hear from you, AD, man.
All right, man.
You too, brother. You too, man. Hey, keep doing your thing, brother. It's good to see you.
Antonio, bring some opinion and energy next time, huh? Seriously. You stop mailing it in. I'm kidding. Antonio Daniels joining us. Color analyst for the Pelicans. Thanks so much, Tone. Hi, I'm Doug Gottlieb from Fox Sports Radio, and you need to subscribe to the Fox Sports Radio YouTube channel where you can hear and see me. Why not? Plus everybody else who's awesome here on Fox Sports Radio.